Warning, this video contains spoilers for Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna if you haven't seen it yet. Bond Evolution, the bizarre new type of evolution or Digivolution introduced in Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. And whether you completely hate them or just wish they were biomerges, I think almost everyone agrees it would have been nice for all the adventure kids to get their own Bond Evolutions, as Digimon Last Evolution Kizuna was kind of the end of adventure in many ways, not just Matt and Tai getting them. So of course I have teamed up once again with some of the best artists in the Digimon game to explore what it might look like if all the Digimon Adventure partners got Bond Evolutions. Happy holidays! What is up, holiday companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome to my Christmas set! Yes, this is Karn's 12 videos of Christmas where I will be making, well, 12 videos in celebration of Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. I got my stockings, I got my tree, and it's definitely a real fireplace. So yes, Bond Evolutions, an interesting form of evolution tied of course to the bond of the Digidestined in question, aka their crest and their rookie. This presented some interesting challenges conceptually as to what makes a bond unique from something like, say, Biomerge Digivolution. Because when you compare them to the very similar Biomerge Digimon, the bond forms are much more pared back. Very humanoid and kind of uncanny, especially in Agumon Bond of Courage's case. Almost naked feeling. Hell, even Gabumon Bond of Friendship is kind of stripped back for an armored Digimon. So the artists and I all agreed on some kind of basic pillars that we think should be the recurring theme of Bond Evolutions. First of all, they should all be bipedal. While again not biomerges, the human factor is very important. Then Agumon and Gabumon both share these kinda LED strip light looking elements, so those are important too. And lastly, the design influences we believe most clearly come from the Rookie and the Mega. So Agumon and Wargreymon for Agubond, and Gabumon and Metal Garurumon for Gabubond. But undeniably there are some other elements visible from the rest of the evolution line. Agubond ends up feeling very much like Greymon, even weirdly Geo Greymon adjacent. And you can see little bits of where Garurumon, or maybe even like Cress or Magna Garurumon even, in Gabubond. So to kind of boil that down, we decided that ultimately, yes, the Rookie and the Mega are most important, but we will pull from Champions, Ultimate, Armors, if a Digimon has one, to create these kind of weird humanoid forms. So we begin with Tentomon, him and Izzy reaching the peak of their love, respect, and bond to allow Tentomon to become Tentomon Bond of Knowledge, designed by Weirdomon. We like the idea of transcendent knowledge for this, Weirdomon drawing on mythological ideas such as those of India, among others, as multiple arms, giving one the power of or to battle a god. You can also see this in Digimon like Shivamon. But it also makes sense because the Tentomon line are bugs with a bunch of arms between them already. The body of this bond still feels eerily humanoid, and while the red of Tentomon and Atlas Kabuterimon leads, the wings and LEDs indicate that Hercules Kabuterimon connection. I'm also very fond of this human head adorned with this distended Tentomon / Atlas Kabuterimon helmet. But Weirdomon wasn't done there. He also took the helm on Gomamon's bond form. Joe and Gomamon have had an interesting road through Tri and Kizuna, but it would be the ultimate payoff of how they rely on each other, or if you're a sub-watcher, the sincerity of their bond, which would create Gomamon, Bond of Reliability or Sincerity. And wow, what a striking design. I think Weirdomon really outdid himself here, creating a Bond evolution super reminiscent of Gomamon, but also with Plesiomon, Meicoomon, Zudamon, and Ikakumon in there for good measure, resulting in something different to all of them, which I think is key for these bond forms and very true to Agubond and Gabubond. They should feel very familiar but wholly strange too. This kind of Poseidon figure I think works very well, and I love the subtlety of the lighting throughout his body. This would have been great in the final battle of Kizuna. Okay, and what about the girls? Well, Mephistoon stepped in to cover Mimi and Sora. And as a reminder, Mephistoon's commissions are wide open right now. He's trying to raise some more money to get himself some drawing equipment like a tablet and things like that, so please do check out his links, as well as all the other artists, and get commissions if you can. Also, apparently people have been DMing artists with video ideas. Don't do that, please. The artists need rest. If you've got video ideas, you can let me know in the comments, but please don't bother other people. Thank you, but please do get a commission. So first off, he took on Palmon and Mimi, and this created a really good conversation in our group chat. Mimi leads very heavily with femininity, that almost kind of traditional princess girly vibe, which is kind of the opposite side to Sora's more tomboyish nature, at least earlier in Digimon. We agreed that femininity is important, but what is femininity and what does that mean to both Mimi and the wider world? While we generally agreed that Mimi's influence would create a more traditionally feminine Bond, we thought that overall the Bond format would allow room to experiment with what is perceived as traditional femininity, because let's not forget, Togemon is a rough and ready brawler, which acts as a very stark contrast to Lilymon and Rosemon, and we wanted to combine all of those elements. So Palmon, knowing the sincerity or purity of Mimi's heart, and ready to accept this is her final chance to save her partner, becomes Palmon, Bond of Sincerity, or Purity. This ticks all our Bond boxes, from the slightly creepy humanoid body, to folding in elements of Palmon's whole evolution line and doing something brand new. I think it's a really cool idea that this Digimon would be a total brawler, remembering all its punching techniques as Togemon, in a similar way that Agumon looks quite similar to Greymon. I also suggested that the LED lights in this instance could instead be inspired by bioluminescence, and I think Mephistoon did so well there. But as I said, he also took on Biyomon, and it kind of annoyed me how sidelined Sora and Biyomon were in Kizuna. Biyomon's disappearance only being implied and kind of off screen. I know a ton of people who just didn't realize that Biyomon disappeared during that movie. Sora and Biyomon really should have gotten more opportunity to shine, especially because Bond Evolution kind of feels like one step up from Love Evolution, the love that the Digimon and the Digidestined have for each other. So Biyomon, overcome with her love for and the love from Sora, transforms into Biyomon, Bond of Love. Once again, I think Mephistoon nailed the brief here, taking a bit more inspiration from Garudamon this time around, but I think that makes perfect sense, as Garudamon is the kind of most humanoid Biyomon evolution, and you can still clearly see the Birdramon and Phoenixmon influence here, in the wings and things like that, alongside even just a little touch of Biyomon. I'm also really pleased with the reinterpretation of the Garudamon style traditional markings into those LED style lights. Alrighty, then it is TK and Kari. And beginning with Patamon, we had an interesting challenge here, because Patamon's evolutions are all very humanoid. There was a temptation, as TK and Kari both got armor forms, that maybe we should be more inspired by Pegasusmon, but we all agreed in the end that it should be very clear that the Bond evolution should not be quadrupedal. As tempting as it might be, that weird human factor should very much be at the forefront. They should be intrinsically humanoid, and to tie too much into Pegasusmon we felt would be like a biomerge or some sort of different evolution. So Patamon, full of the hope that TK's partnership gave him, becomes Patamon, Bond of Hope, drawn by HLR. This foremost feels in the angelic wheelhouse of Angemon, Magna Angemon, and Seraphimon, but keeps some more of that Greek constellation influence evident from Pegasusmon too. And you'll notice that the head underneath the helmet is orange, as the body is still Patamon. I think HLR did incredibly well here. You can see how the whole Angemon line influenced this, but by keeping the body more pared back, it keeps that slightly unnerving Bond evolution feel. Almost like taking some design influence from biblically accurate angels, but then making them humanoid again. Another thing I very much was pleased with was the conclusion to base the light strips on the color of TK's D3 Digivice, which is his Digivice throughout 02, Tri, and Kizuna, so I think remains important. I'm very happy with the balance struck of familiarity to the Hope evolutions, but something entirely new and very much a Bond evolution. And then is Kari's partner, and our ideas from Patamon remain true here. Humanoid elements are important, but we had to make a decision. At what level would Kari's partner Bond evolve? Regardless of her champion status, we settled that Gatomon Bond evolving made far more sense than Salamon. While the official Bond evolutions come from rookies and we have used the rookies to inform the evolutions, I think that's just because it's their default state, and not necessarily the only level Bond evolution could occur at. I think Bond evolution more so is the baseline, the bottom level of the Digimon, at their natural resting state, not depowered by evolution or anything like that, causing some kind of miraculous evolution. So, Gatomon with the Bond of Light forged with Kari becomes Gatomon Bond of Light drawn by Alltrade. As with Patamon Bond of Hope, Gatomon Bond of Light does draw elements from Angewomon and Magnadramon as well as Ophanimon, and also the armor Digimon Nefertimon, with Alltrade adding more human helmet, heel wheels, and mask elements to reference the angelic side of Gatomon. The wings then are very inspired by Ophanimon, and the overall design is kind of meant to be a compromise, as we said, between all of the forms of Gatomon. And as with TK, the LED style light strips are pink to match Kari's D3 color. Alright, so that's kind of the main kids, but we're not done here. With a lot of these custom art videos, we're doing custom art very particular to a point in time of a season. For example, Dark Digivolution would be around when Skull Greymon was there, which is why quite often I don't use Tri, Kizuna, or even movie kids, and also because of, budget. But as this is a post-Tri and during Kizuna video, I think it made sense to include Meiko and Menua here. So beginning with Meiko, yeah, technically Meicoomon did fade away at the end of Tri. It's Digimon. Even Digimon who die in the real world have been seen again. Plus, Menua's whole thing in Kizuna was recreating the Digimon that the kids lost. We even see Meiko and Meicoomon in Menua's Neverland. So it could just be a reincarnated Meicoomon, or maybe in this new scenario with all the bonds, maybe the power of the bond makes the kind of fake Digimon in Neverland regain their consciousness and their memories. It's something that Kamen Rider likes to do a lot, where a character has been dead since the show, and then in a movie, a clone comes back, or a weird version of them comes back, and then they get their memories and they're basically the same person. I'm looking at you, Ank. Well, regardless of how it manifests, Meicoomon taps into its bond with Meiko to become, well, actually, Meiko and Menua don't have crests, huh? Well, my little headcanon, the one I will proceed with, is perhaps Meiko has the Crest of Darkness. We know there's a Darkness Digimental, and Darkness doesn't have to be evil, especially as Meicoomon is a dark match to Gatomon, the two even eventually becoming Ordainemon. I think it's a fun idea that Meiko's crest would be darkness, and overcoming that, knowing when darkness is appropriate, would be a great theme for her. So I present Meicoomon Bond of Darkness, drawn by some guy 944. And Meicoomon did present some challenges again. Meicrackmon, Raciomon, and Ragulmon are also very humanoid beast hybrids, so some guy 944 lent into that, but upped the more uncanny valley factor. Rather than the split of good or bad, Meicoomon Bond of Darkness is a merging of the two, accepting her own darkness and light and taking the road to dawn. Hey Kingdom Hearts fans! I think this came out very well and fits in perfectly with both the bonds, but also the Meicoomon Evo lines. The pink as well, making up the light segments to match with Gatomon, is just chef's kiss. And finally is Menua. If she ever got to reunite with her partner Morphomon, it would be emotional. Maybe even however Agumon and Gabumon are going to be brought back in future could also bring back Morphomon. It disappeared for the exact same reasons after all. As such, the artist for this piece, Soru, and I agreed that Morphomon would be front and center here, but also I think Morphomon's data being used for Eosmon would undeniably inform this Bond evolution. And I also thought Hoodymon could be finally officially tied to Morphomon in adventure canon. So a returned Morphomon, overjoyed to be reunited with the Menua that it lost long ago, Bond digivolves to become Morphomon Bond of, well, Soru suggested Bond of Sacrifice, which I think is incredibly fitting for Menua. She was forced to sacrifice Morphomon, and her entire arc is learning what she needs to sacrifice to let go, and what sacrifices she must make for others. Even her bad side is essentially sacrificing kids and Digimon for her perfect little Neverland. So I'm really pleased with Soru's idea for Menua's crest. And this video is the first time he's hearing just how much I love that idea and just how much I could make it work, because I'm wacky like that. Anyway, Morphomon Bond of Sacrifice. And what a bond this is. A very feminine bond, which I think is appropriate, and something I really liked is that while it is reminiscent of Eosmon, Soru went with very rounded lines with this design, which feels like the other side of the coin to how angular and geometrical the Eosmon line is. As with the other bonds, Morphomon is in full display here alongside some really great Hoodymon details, including the centerpiece of the LED style lights being these kind of stained glass butterfly wings, and with those really cool Hoodymon boots. It's just a great unifier of kind of the main butterfly Digimon, but also feeling very true to the Bond forms. Alright, that's it! All our Bond evolutions for Digimon Adventure. Don't fret, I know there are more adventure kids in 02, but we wanted that to be its own video, so stay tuned for Bond evolutions for the partners of Davis, Yoli, Cody, Ken, and yes, even Willis, and probably not the International Digidestined. There's so many of them and my wallet can only afford so much after what happened the other week. But hey, if you want to become a channel member to support videos like this one, and enable me to commission more of these artists, you can join below this video. Just like my sovereigns, ZDK14 and Jamon, as well as all the names you can see on screen right now for supporting this channel with their hard-earned money. Karn's 12 videos of Christmas has begun. I'm very excited to do all these weird, slightly Christmas-themed videos. It's just going to be a lot of custom art with some loose holiday themes. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out the video below me because it is one that YouTube knows you will love from my channel, and I will see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.